the most recently searched string. Do you understand what I'm talking about? What is the default value? Anybody who doesn't understand what I'm talking about?
It's the one inside the text.
Yeah, if I search once, if I say port no here, and search for it, and says cannot find, good. And then I open the dialog box again, and it comes with default value in it. It remembers what I did last time. So that is the meaning of default value. I mean, default value is something in there which is given to you on opening the dialog box. You just open it there. What is the value of default value? The most recently executed search. Good. Guys, look how many requirements we have now. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So how many test cases do we need? What are the test cases? It is going to be your homework. Okay? You come with test cases yourself. And we will look at them next time. I mean, next time we have the midterm. You know what? It's a good idea to put it in midterm. Yeah, let them do it in the midterm. So that is the best preparation. Okay. So what is the next question we have here? Let me save it. I will put it on the forum today. Save.
Yeah, because you're not putting everything in.
Because I what?
You're not putting everything that we discussed here on the forum.
We don't have their login passport, test cases.
I do not understand.
On the forum.
On the forum?
Yeah.
So,
We only have requirements written.
okay, I will take care of it today. No problem. Right after the class, I'll do it. Okay. Define equivalence class. Guys, before I look at what you put there, anybody would explain the equivalence class when it comes to software testing. We are not defining equivalence class as a mathematical term, which it is. But in the way we deal with equivalence classes. So what is equivalent class? Anybody with okay.
It's a set of variables actually with different input but that will give
What do you mean variables?
Maybe it depends on which field or what you're testing. If you're testing
I don't like the word variable. I mean, the word variables is dead wrong. And the definition of equivalence class is so simple. We do not make it more complicated. I mean, it works against you if you make it more complicated. What do you mean variables? What are you talking about?
There is a group of inputs that expects the same output.
Yes. Group of inputs resulting by requirements, resulting in same output. Why do we care about equivalence classes? So what is the advantage of thinking about equivalence classes?
Test case optimization.
Yeah, any specific idea why equivalence classes would help us to optimize test cases?
When we look at equivalence classes, we also look at the equivalence partitioning and the boundary.
There are two different methods we use for test cases.
Yes.
One method is equivalence classes, and another one is boundary conditions. Now, equivalence class.
So we can that way have just one test case for the equivalence class
That's it.
and two test cases for each boundary.
That's it.
Test case optimization. That's how we optimize the test.
It's not exactly optimization, but it answers the question how many test cases we actually need to avoid redundancy. Yeah, we can say avoiding redundancy is our way of optimizing the test cases. We need just one test case out of a class and two test cases out of boundaries. So we have two methodologies we apply to developing test cases. Okay, equivalence class and boundaries. And let's see what you are saying there. So now we have 24 people participating, and 8 people actually skipped that question. Okay, so what do we have? Range of input values for test case that result in same output. Equivalence class is not about test cases. Test case is how we use equivalence class, or how we might use equivalence class. So the range of input values, forget about for test case. It's not range, it's okay. All of the input values that result in same output. So we can come with one test case, for the whole class. So the test case is not a definition, not part of the definition of equivalence class. Is it clear? Okay. Set C, plural, of inputs that have equivalent expected behavior. Equivalent. You can say that. I mean, I'm still wondering why you don't say it the way we teach you to say that, but okay. You might also you might put that here and say used. So on the QA side, okay, we need one test case per class. Okay. Group of inputs which is expected to have the same output. Good. Group of input data that refers to the same boundary class. There is no boundary class. There is no term like boundary class. What is a class? Group of input data that refers to same boundary class. For example, and then we have that example. Before you come with example, it's important to provide the correct definition. Otherwise, your example doesn't mean much. Is it clear? Mathematical examples are not necessarily the best ones, but it's okay. I mean, it is always good to come with a decent example. It's always better. So then you beat the competitors who come with definition and no example. But what's important? Definition should be correct. Example should be clear and easy to understand, because that one I'm not sure what is it. For example, 0, 5, maybe 0, 5, 7, 9. I don't know how it will. Okay, 22, 23 belong to the same boundary. I don't know. Then I have to really squeeze my mind and try to understand what you mean here. Okay.
Can you show us some decent examples?
I did show you decent examples. I did give you the example with life insurance online form, quotation form, where you specify your age, date of birth actually, and then you have 3 classes. So one class is you are too young, you are 14 days old and younger. Another class is normal, in between 15 days and 85 years old. And then class when you are too old, so 85 years old plus 1 day. So we have 3 classes with 2 boundaries, and then so you take 1 representative out of each class. And then we have 4 for 2 boundaries. And I gave you that example, sure. We just did one for zip code. We are saying, okay, it takes 5 digits, but what if we have to test what if it is 4, and then what it is 5? So we test that boundary. What is the class? 1 to 4 is one class, which is not good. Then 5 is another class, and 6 and more is another class. We have 3 classes there, and only one class is allowed, which is 5. So class 5 has just 1 member, which is valid input. Class to the left of 5 has 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 members. Class to the right of 5 has unlimited, infinite number of members. So what else? Equivalence class is a process. It's not a process. It is a methodology. The process of methodically reproducing the huge set of possible test case. No. Set of input with equivalent why equivalent expected behavior? Where does it come from? Second time. When I see that, I say, okay, search that on Google. Where does it? I mean, two people cannot do exact same thing, you know, by accident. Odd test blogspot. Guys, you read what bloggers are saying. I mean, and you find the most idiotic thing in the entire Google with 1, 2, 3, 4 instances. Oh, yeah. Not the right one to copy, okay?
And we put it in the forum too.
What?
Definition of acknowledged position of what?
I think we have it.
We do not put, I mean, we can, but we already have it. It's right, test documentation, risk analysis, testing boundaries. It's not here?
I think I saw it before.
It was somewhere, guys. I'm not sure where exactly on which page, but
Just have boundary conditions, definition of boundary conditions.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but definitely it is not what I mean. Really, two people come with same piece of real garbage out of so many definitions. You know, why don't you go to Wikipedia and get one? Why do you get that from piece of crap blog? You know, where people have no idea what they are talking about. Why would you do that, guys? You live in the world of abundance of information, and your inability to separate crap from valuable information is critical in other people liking or not liking what you do. You cannot afford that. You have to be capable of separating that. How do you do that? You go to trusted sources. You go to Wikipedia, for example. You know, but and another concern of mine is why we have two people saying the same thing. I mean, set of input, set of input, set of variable with different input but with same. What's variables? And okay, I know who did that. Okay, no variables. No variables. I mean, makes no sense to be. To complete the test first. You'd rather, you know, spend more time and come with better definition. Really. Okay, guys. So we are done with this one, and we have 1 more hour. And guess what we're gonna do next? Guess. Who can? We are preparing to the midterm. What is the next step in preparing to the midterm? You go to common interview questions number 1. So that one is easy, I believe. It has mostly, yeah, all the questions are pretty much, you know, just one. Okay, how do you test a toaster? So I think 20 minutes will be more than enough to finish. Okay, so common interview questions 1. Okay, I'm turning my microphone off. How do you determine when you have done enough testing? So we are in common interview questions 1. Enough testing. Okay, let's see what we've got. By management request. Management request is something which is always there. When management says, okay guys, are we done enough testing? So you still have to say yes or no and why. So management request is not the answer. You might say, who cares? Whatever management says, we'll do it. It's not a good answer. When major bugs are fixed. So we have lots of support here. It is not answering the question. I mean, it would be a good answer to another question. If they ask you, what is a good time to release the software? You might say, well, if major bugs are fixed, maybe we can actually, it might go to customers. It might go to customers with lots of bugs in there. That means you have to stop testing. You have to reduce number of bugs, and it moves to maintenance stage, and at maintenance stage we still do testing. By management request, major bugs fixed. Determined by project schedule. Project schedule is kind of flexible thing. When we plan for something, it's better to have a plan. But plans are being adjusted a lot. And when we start doing any plan, business plan, whatever plan, we know it will be adjusted eventually. So it's not iron made. And again, if product is not good enough to be released, or so what schedule means to us, or to the company management, or number of open bugs does not decrease over time. Nobody actually likes that, but that is the right answer. What is the time to say, okay, we don't want to test anymore? Makes no sense. Time goes on, and the number of bugs is still pretty much the same. So you start testing, and number of bugs in open bugs in your system is like decreasing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each next time it goes down, and then it becomes relatively stable. They fix some, they introduce more, and it doesn't improve much. And that level of no improvement might be prohibitive for releasing the software. It might never go to customers. So how we decide if it goes to customers, it's a different question. We are saying, does it make sense to keep testing? If it goes at the same level of quality for some time, it's time to stop. I mean, they might take another course of action. It's not our business, but our business is to say, guys, it is not going to be better. QA team meeting will determine. Okay, even if QA team meeting will determine anything, so what is that we bring to the discussion? How we how we argue about why. QA and development teams both should agree. Again, what is the argument? What is our justification? Makes no sense, because it's not getting better. Expected results are same as actual results. Okay, that is a total disaster. That is an absolute disaster. Expected results and actual results are two fields in a test case. What are we doing? We are talking about done enough testing. You have a product which might have thousands of test cases, or maybe no test case really, but we still have test. What do you mean expected and actual? Expected and actual results are specifically limited to test case. That's it. There are terms coming off test case. That is a total failure. I mean, really, I cannot imagine why in the world you would do that. You do not understand what's expected and what's actual, or you do not understand that it doesn't talk about test case, it talks about the whole product, or why? User acceptance test passed. Anybody can tell us what's user acceptance test. I mean, those 5 people who decided on that. Anybody, tell us what's user acceptance test. Okay. So the answer was when the quality doesn't improve over time. That is the time to stop. Describe a software bug. Here, that is probably the highest possible score achieved today by you as a group. So mismatch between actual and expected behavior of software application. We have it, it's even higher than about test case having ID, which was below 90. Mismatch between actual and expected. Software crashes or system hangs. It is an example, but it's not a definition. Missing feature of GUI element, upside or GUI element, sure, it's an example, but it doesn't define. Violation of written requirement. That one is bad, because requirement, it is a violation of requirements, but not necessarily written. Written kills the whole answer. Violation of requirements, which is mismatch between requirements and actual behavior would be fine without the word written. Okay. It's very simple on one hand, and on the other hand, you might not think so. When do you automate testing? By management request. Yes, sir. Okay. You have to suggest management what to automate. Okay, that is, and then management says, okay, let's do it. If testing cannot be done manually, yeah, guys, what if it cannot be done manually? Well, I mean, you think it makes no sense to automate or what? If the only way of doing that is automation, why we have just 37%? And we discussed that already. I told you there are two situations in which you want to automate. One situation is you cannot do it manually. And I gave you an example of multi-user testing when you have multiple computers and multiple users are doing different things synchronously, and then you have to synchronize them, and then you just cannot do it manually. You cannot have 20 people running 20 computers and doing something synchronously. So multi-user testing, for example, load testing. You cannot manually do load testing when you exercise, backend capacity and processing traffic. You cannot create lots of traffic manually. So then we have load testing tools like load runner. When there is time left in between projects, yeah, it's better than just drinking beer. And girls do not drink beer, some of them. And in India, would girls drink beer?
In India?
Yeah.
Nowadays, yeah.
Now, okay, see, they're changing. Just the girls or they go with boys and drink beer?
No.
Just girls.
Just girls or
Just
boys
girls.
and girls, they do. Nowadays they do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's everything is
And
possible.
parents say nothing.
No.
Parents say, go and drink beer, here's $5. And
No.
okay.
Yeah, some of them, not in our times, but
Okay.
yeah.
When the test is expected to be launched many times, 58%. Guys, wow, that is one of the correct answers. We spend time to provide, to develop automation. Then we spend time to maintain automation. It's like highway. You spend $1 billion to build that highway, and then you have to spend maybe 100 million every year to maintain the highway. So now, why would we do that? If there is a heavy traffic there, it makes sense. If nobody is using that highway, why would we spend the money? So the same thing here. Something which is executed very often will be automated. It's a good investment. I would automate regression test. Not many people want to automate regression test, but regression test is one of the most frequently executed tests. Release acceptance test. Which out of two tests, regression and release acceptance, which one is more frequent? Release acceptance. We have less people interested in automating the more frequent one. That is the primary candidate. That is number one, and that is number two.
But the question not is which is a good candidate for automation.
When do I automate? But if you look at that at all, you definitely want to automate regression. You definitely want to automate release acceptance. But we have, this is a good answer. I mean, 100%, this is 100%, and you can also have this too. It doesn't hurt. It's not contradicting to anything. Each and every test should be automated if there is enough time and money. Come on. Some tests are very difficult to automate. Some tests are so rare, it makes no sense to automate them because you are not going to have any advantage of having them automated. Let's say GUI. Guys, what is the purpose of automating GUI test? It's just done once and forget about the stuff, and it's not like something which might fail on regression, nothing. So it's not like each and every test should be automated. You started Selenium, not yet?
Just one.
Okay, guys, one is enough to answer the question why in the world we need test automation tools. We need test automation tools to either do something which is not doable manually, or to save time on future execution. So whatever happens a lot, we want it automated. So we do make an investment of time, but then we get return, substantial return. One more thing here is consistency of testing. Because if you have something and you do it like once a week, for example, for a year, then unless it is automated, you will do it 52 times and with certain deviations. If you find a problem today, you don't really know if that problem happened months ago, 3 months ago, 5 months ago, or just yesterday. Simply because you have no consistency in test execution. You are humans. You might have that procedure written, but then someone calls, or you are upset with something, or you are too happy with something, or God knows what. We are humans. We cannot really do that job the way the robots do that job. And then here is the robot. The robot does it. It's good. Okay. When does testing begin? The challenge in that question is not to be confused with the question, when does quality assurance begin? Here is the challenge. Okay. No testing, just quality assurance. Good. From the day one with analysis and requirements, testing? 68%, yeah? Is it 50 or 60? 50, okay. 58%. Guys, what are you talking about? You are talking about quality assurance. Testing begins here, after the code is ready to be tested. After each and every release, we do regression. It's not true. The release should pass user acceptance testing first. After the prototype comes back with release notes. What the hell is that? I don't know. Okay. My background is in hardware, so we used to work with prototypes a lot. Okay. Upon approval of the test plan, testing begins up. We might have no test plan at all. After QA team is built and trained, nobody believes in that. Okay. So here is the answer. And again, the tricky part of that is not to be confused with quality assurance, because quality assurance begins with day one. Requirements gathering, and use cases, and then if you are there at early stages of the development, and you know what the subject matter is about, then you can contribute to, if you remember what we said, so you might contribute to clarification of requirements. So what are the 3 problems in requirements? 3 problems in requirements. Requirements could be ambiguous. You answer my question, don't ask me. You answer the questions. What are 3 problems you have to remember about requirements? Requirements could be, one more time, ambiguous, incomplete, ambiguous, incomplete, contradictory. 3 keywords. So if, as quality assurance people, you get involved at earlier stages, if you are able to identify ambiguous, incomplete, contradictory requirements, then you contribute a lot to the quality of the future product. Because 82%, as Borland says, 82% of code being rewritten comes from changes in requirements. Well, definitely they change requirements. The question is it okay? It is not. Anytime it happens, there's going to be lots more time spent, more money spent, and the quality is going to be down instead of moving up. So we don't want that. So if you can contribute to the requirements being better, that is your major contribution to the project. It's much better than finding bugs later on. You are not going to find anyway all of them, and they are not going to fix them anyway, even those you report. Guys, it's much better not to have them at all. Okay. If you found the bug, what do you have to do next? Report the bug immediately, 75%. So we have more people behind this one than saying reproduce it on several computers before reporting. Why don't you reproduce it first, guys? You know what might happen? You find a bug, and it's not really a bug. You just go to a couple of other computers and you realize it is not consistent bug. So it is something which might require more investigation, or it might be something related to the problems of your own computer. So before you report something, you have to make sure it is a bug. I understand what could happen. You just read it and say report immediately. Yeah, you assume it is a proven bug. But you still have this one. So you have two choices here. And then having two choices, you still go for this one, not for this one. That is kind of not nice. Check if the bug taken in the bug taking system, if that bug was already submitted. So first of all, normally you have certain area which you are responsible for. So most likely, if the bug is reported in that area, maybe 95% it's your bug, not somebody else. Number one. Number two, sometimes it is so much time consuming to go there and to find what other people submit, and then how would you find that? Really, I mean, how would you search bug tracking system by what? You don't know how other people define the problem. So it is a time consuming process, and it might be imposed in some environments, but normally it is not the case. Normally, okay, if same problem is reported 2 times, it's just close 2 bugs at the time, and that's it. So, but again, wherever you work, they will tell you. So overall, kind of in average, it's not a good idea, because you will spend lots of time on this rather than finding and reporting more bugs. Write an email to developer with the bug descriptions. Why in the world you do that? I mean, you just, guys, these people, raise your hand if you are married to developer. Raise your hand if you are married to developer. Nobody? Just one? You are married to who?
I'm not married to developer.
Okay, sorry. It's a different.
My brother is an analyst.
Is it? Business analyst.
Access count. Do access count?
Okay, guys, if you would ever marry a developer, you will notice that you say, "Hi, honey," and he says, "Who are you?" Their brain is occupied very much with work. It is a brain-draining profession, guys. The whole thing is a great level of concentration is involved. And then you email, boom. Oh, it's a tester, okay. And you do that like once in 15 minutes, and then if he works with a couple of testers, then he stops working. Or he just blocks your account in his email. It goes directly to the trash. Hypothetically, it might be a part of the procedure. If you work in a company where they have no bug tracking system and this and that, I can tell you a real life story. I was asked to refer a good tester, and I think about one woman. She's kind of mature one, maybe 48, 49, and she has been working already for a couple of years, and I think she might be a good match. And she lives nearby. So I call her and I say, "Listen, would you be interested in such and such position?" And she said, "Oh, Michael, it's so difficult to move me now." I'm saying, "Why?" She says, "Where else would I have a job where I don't have to write bug reports?" I'm saying, "Are you in QA business?" She says, "Yes." I'm saying, "But you find bugs?" She said, "Absolutely." So how developers know where the bug is? She says, "I just go to developer and show him." And then I say, "Okay, but how often does it happen?" She says, "Maybe 20 bugs a day." I'm saying, "Okay." Then at the end of the month, you have 500 bugs reported. Yeah? She said, yeah, pretty much. I'm saying, how do you remember if they're fixed? What you reported? And she says, oh, I remember. I'm saying, okay, 3 months down the road, with $1,500 you reported, how do you remember which ones were reported and fixed? She said, I remember. It's a disaster. I would say from the professional standpoint, she must run from company like that. Because in a professional sense, it destroys her. And she starts thinking it's normal. Instead of saying, guys, there is a free bug taking system, why don't we use it? She says, where else can I find a job? Yeah. But you know what? If she submits no bug reports, nobody is accountable. Developer is not accountable for fixing. She is not accountable for verifying fixes. Nobody is accountable for anything, and people like it.
Is she getting paid?
That is how they destroyed Soviet Union, a big empire. Not in business anymore. Why? Nobody was accountable. What?
Is she getting paid, that lady?
Don't worry. Don't worry. She was paid very well. Doesn't mean, guys, you have to understand, being paid doesn't make you a good tester. I remember one gentleman, similar situation. He was making good money, and he was senior level guy. And as his lifestyle is such that he works for 6 months, and then he resigns and goes to Europe for another 5 months, and he drives all over the Europe. And then he comes back, gets another job, and works for 6 months. That is his lifestyle for the last 10 years. So one day I call him and say, listen, there is a position you might be interested in. He says, Michael, if you really think about moving me, I have 2 conditions. Condition number 1, it should be 110,000, no less than that. Number 2, it should require no work to be done. I'm saying, yeah, nice. I'm saying, how can you imagine that? He says, look at me. I'm making 100,000 and I'm doing nothing at work. So if I go to another job, at least it should pay more money for same thing. Some companies are paying money to people, you know, who do nothing, and it's okay. They're not paying their own money. You know? Yeah, it's an interesting world. Reproduce the bug on several computers before reporting. That is the right answer. Check in the bug tracking, I wouldn't say so. Okay. Yeah, things like that normally happen to someone else, not you. So just keep doing the right thing. If you find the bug and developer says it is as designed, means it's not a bug, it's a feature. Okay. What would you do? Let's see. Make sure the status of the bug report is fixed. Guys, we did the bug reporting thing. We used element tool. You remember, unless developer says fixed, it will not come to your view. How do you know it is fixed? Because the field, the status field is changed to fixed. You don't have to make sure the status is fixed. If it is not fixed, you don't know about the existence of that bug anymore. Is it clear? So that is wrong. You don't have to. Make sure there was nothing broken in related functional areas. Listen, developer says it's not a bug. Developer doesn't say I fixed something. There is nothing to be broken anywhere. There was no modification of the code involved. Why in the world something is broken? I mean 30%. Wow. Close the bug immediately. People don't trust developers. So if developer says no bug, you say, well, which is true. I would say 95% probability developer's right. 95. But there is still 5% when it's not exactly the case. Developers do not have 100% exact knowledge of the requirements. They might have some idea of that. So you do not close the bug immediately, no. Discuss the situation with QA manager, 30%. Guys, you're not handicapped. And your manager is not your, I don't know, tutor. Manager has lots of work in managing the teams. Sometimes you run into talking to QA manager about some complicated scenarios, okay? Situations. But you know what? Normally, no, not really. Discuss the situation with development manager. That is the last thing you do. You never go outside of your own team. Unless your manager says, go to development manager, I just called him, he is waiting for you. Do not ever go outside of your team. Because if you start asking questions around, they think your manager is not competent to answer your questions, and they think your manager is not managing you. Okay? I remember one story. There was a girl here. She goes to internship, and then in 3 days, she decides it's a waste of time, really. She needs a job, and what is she doing here? It's like unpaid internship, and what she does? She doesn't talk to Sophia, which is supposed to be step number 1. No. She doesn't talk to manager, which is not as good as talking to Sophia, but it's better than going outside of the team. She goes to HR. And she says, guys, I'm an intern here. What do you want me to kind of bring to the table so you hire me permanently? They call manager and they say, listen, why your people are wandering around unsupervised? I mean, are you a manager or who? Or what? Or who is a manager there? Do you have any manager at all? Or just someone who collects salary as a manager? Guys, some people, their second name is trouble. Actually, first name is trouble. Okay? So that is the way. That is your first name and last name is trouble. if you do that. First, make sure the developer is right. What does it mean? Most likely developer is right, but let's make sure, let's justify the developer is right or developer is wrong. If developer is wrong, you explain why developer is wrong. If you cannot justify that developer is wrong, let's say you cannot say right, but you cannot say wrong. Guys, you close the bug, forget about this stuff. Unless you can justify developer is wrong, you close the bug. Is it clear? Good. But it happens. It happens that you come with your arguments and they say, interesting. There is nothing personal here. It's not like you come with a bug report and developer says, so you are saying I'm a bad developer. No, they don't care. I mean, and they prefer you to find the bug rather than customer finding the bug. Because if customer finds the bug and it comes back to developer, it goes through management. So, exposure, the level of exposure is much less pleasant. How do we perform GUI testing? Manually, for sure. With Selenium or no. Selenium is a test automation tool. No, we do it manually. You don't think it's manual, just 27% here. Using Microsoft GUI guidelines for Windows applications. It's true. If it is a Windows application, you use Microsoft guidelines. Based on my broad user experience, miserable. Real miserable. Means if you are a professional person, so what makes you professional? Just being a user. User experience is good. It suggests lots of things, but it doesn't replace certain knowledge, like graphic user interface guidelines and sources. Along the usability guidelines for web applications published on usability.gov, which is true, guys, it is true. For Windows applications, it is Microsoft. For web application, it is usability.gov. We are lucky not to have anything for mobile yet. At least I don't know about it. Based on the company policies, do you think it makes sense to test GUI testing, to do GUI testing based on company policies? Is it real or something artificially created? Company policies. They might say, we want to be like these people, like Google, like Microsoft Word. So then you run, if you run into any issues, you say, okay, how these people do it? I remember one product we tested here in the school. It was called, it was before the collapse of internet boom. It was thinkfree.com. I don't know if they still exist, but thinkfree.com. What they said, we will do web-based. It was done in Korea, South Korea, obviously. And what they did, they took entire Microsoft Office and implemented that on the web for free. For free, you don't have to. And at that time, the complete Office would cost maybe 400, 500 bucks. Free. And we tested for them. And anytime we come, how that thing is working, say, look at Microsoft Word. Same thing. So their set of requirements was that application, this application. That is, they didn't even write it. You know? They didn't have anything in writing. They said, same as Microsoft. Is it clear? And that is how their developers developed that in Korea. Okay. How do we perform GUI testing? Based on company policies? Oh, absolutely. It might be a very important contribution. According to QA manager directions, guys, QA manager is not like a Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad. So just a respectable person, with salary maybe higher than yours. But when QA manager tells you what to do, it's not like development manager decides. Development manager follows company policies. Development manager relies upon certain guidelines and available information. So the answer is, for Windows applications, we have Microsoft guidelines. For web applications, we have this set of guidelines. We definitely pay attention to company policies, which might actually correct lots of things. And there is one more thing here, which is missing. Industry best practices. Then what happens, let's say Microsoft is fine, but web applications, the most recent guidelines were published like 4 years ago. Guys, over 4 years, lots of things happen. Companies are coming with more things, which eventually will be incorporated into the guidelines, but not yet. So, and that is where industry best practices kick in. You still want to be like this and that, and if you realize users are expecting that. So if users are not expecting that yet, you say it is nice to have, but when users expect that, it becomes must have. How do you know? Industry best practices, you look at other applications, your competition. And if you are in the web applications world, guys, it might change like once in 2, 3, 4 weeks. It might dramatically change. Okay? So it's a very dynamic world. How do you see yourself in 3-5 years as a QA engineer? Okay, QA manager. Yes. I want your job. Okay, a software developer, business analyst. Guys, if you come to anything outside of QA, it works against you, because here is the logic. When I hire you, I want to make sure I give you what you need, because unless I give you what you need, I get nothing from you. So the more I can give you, the better candidate you are. Here is the philosophy. That is why you are not likely to get a job if you come and you are 100% match. The question is, I'm not giving you anything. Moreover, if you stay with me for 6 months, in 6 months your market value is less than today. Because in 6 months, lots of things will change and you are not going to be up to those things. So they give you some room to grow. So you can grow, you are motivated. And when you say software developers, they say, yeah, but I have nothing to give you in that, in achieving that. Business analyst, what can I give you to go there? I just have nothing. So small business owner, oh God. Someone who makes the difference in software testing. That is the answer. How do you see yourself? Guys, you don't know your title. You might be in management. Then you want to be the QA manager who makes the difference in software in managing QA teams. You might be in test automations, and you want to be someone who makes the difference in test automation. You might be in mobile technologies, testing, then you want to be someone who makes the difference in testing mobile technologies. Is it clear? You want to be good at what you are doing. That way you have universal attractiveness. Okay. White box test automation go. Why, guys? Why white box? You go for black box position. Why in the world you want to be?
But in 3-5 years.
The thing is, if I hire you for black box position, how that will help you in becoming that? Means I'm not. It's like kiss without love,
Which is absolutely possible.
Oh yeah, lots of girls will kiss you without. But if you think about men, I mean, they want to be liked, Or girls want to be liked, loved, And kiss by itself, it's okay. It's better than no kiss. I was doing insurance for a while, and I was in insurance licensing school. And there was a guy, a real older guy, I mean, like closer to 80, I'm not sure, 75, real old one. And he said once, and we were talking about life insurance. And he said, when I was a teenager in high school, he said there was a big issue at that time of mouse breath. And they did that stuff, and then they kiss. So sees a girl, and then kiss. So it was a big deal. And then he says, and I was young at that time, and now if you ask me, I will tell you, good breath or bad breath is better than no breath. So kiss with love, without love is better than kiss, no, kiss with love is better than kiss with no love, but it's even better than kiss with no kiss. Okay, so white box tester. So you might accept the job which doesn't make you happy. I would rather take someone who is less ambitious but who will be happier doing that. And guys, overall, you might not know that, but people hate when someone around them is unhappy. And some people are born unhappy, and they will die unhappy. And most probably they're going to die being surrounded by other unhappy people, because happy people just stay away from them. Okay? So if you are a kind of unhappy personality, okay, and at least pretend you are not like that. I had one gentleman here, he was always like that. And I said, why don't you smile ever? He says, what is the reason to smile? Give me the reason. You are alive, okay? You have 2 legs and 2 arms and 2 eyes and 2 ears. God, I mean, isn't it a lot already? We still have sun, shining. I don't know. Compare the environments. If you log a bug and developer says she cannot reproduce it, what should you do? She cannot reproduce it. Assign the bug to male developer. Okay. She said, okay, joking. Cannot reproduce. See if I cannot reproduce it myself. Close the bug. Guys, that is number 1 choice. And most likely that is what happened. Lots of bugs are being fixed on the fly, not because you reported them, just because they keep developing software. So it's not like there are 5 minutes in between they say that and you just reported a bug. No, it could be 2 weeks in between, could be a couple of months in between. So things happen. If you cannot reproduce it, which is maybe 90-95% probability, just close it. See if I can reproduce it on 2-3 other computers. If you reproduce it on your system, you are capable of reproducing it. It's not enough now. You say, I can reproduce it, developer cannot. Let's go to a few more computers and see. If your system is the only one with that bug, you close the bug and take care of your system. If other systems also give you that bug, you say, haha, then we don't do 810, come on. No. Reproduce it on developer's computer. What happens, now it's about steps maybe to reproduce. So then developer might stop by and say show me, or you stop by and show. It doesn't have to be physically stop by. You might share screen in Skype, for example. Lots of people, I probably told you, they just make video, use cell phone, make a video of the steps. So they eliminate the issue of steps. In today's world, it's very common. Then, if steps are the same, you think, well, maybe it's environments. Maybe it is operating system or the version of the update or service pack. Or it might be browser or certain settings in your browser. We have so many things to deal with when it comes to environments. The worst case scenario, developer comes with his tools to your system and does debugging on your system. In my life, it happened just once. Most of it will be resolved at step one. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I cannot reproduce a bug by myself, it means it's not a bug even.
There is no.
There's no bug? Again, it was a bug. When you report it, it was a bug. But time goes on. And then developer says, OK, let's fix this one. And it's not there. Developer says, not there. Comes back to you. You say, not there. Close it. OK. How do you test a toaster? We have to include that in your midterm. Toaster. Requirements. It works at voltage range, whatever. Oh, God. Wow.
Maybe not.
No, whatever. Guys, as a requirement, sure. It heats up and keeps the required temperature. Required, I would say, the temperature, it allows to set the temperature, for example. And it stays within that range plus minus 5 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. I mean, it will be more engineering kind of type. But yeah, it is a very good idea here. It regulates. If it comes to certain temperature, it keeps the temperature. But you cannot just keep the temperature. You can keep it in a certain range, plus minus. OK, good. It shuts down after the certain amount of time, specified amount of time, whatever, specified by user. Test cases, check functionality with the voltage within the voltage range. That is good. Check functionality outside of voltage range. It's not about functionality now. It's a survival issue. I mean, I don't know. OK. Check the temperature against required. Check the time if it spends against set requirements. Device must be plugged. OK. So temperature or time must be defined. There must be at least one piece of bread in the device. Yeah. Guys, I like the set of requirements. You know what? Since we are pretty much done for today, let's talk about it deserves your attention. I just don't want to do it in between. OK, we will start next time with that question. It is not just about the toaster. How would you test Golden Gate Bridge? How would you test this pencil? How would you test vending machine? How would you test whatever? We have one gentleman, he comes here to interview you. Each time he talks to another person, he comes with another device to test. So you do not memorize how you test it, you understand the idea of testing. But definitely requirements is the key. And there are a couple of things which will help you to beat everybody, and which I will share with you next time. So your homework is very simple. You prepare to the midterm, which means you go over what you learned so far. Specifically, on QA side, you have to be able to answer all the quizzes, basic 1, basic 2, bug tracking, test documentation 1 and 2, and the one we did today. Not much.
Excluding this one?
Excluding this one. We didn't cover this one yet.
Written on the paper or online?
Yeah.
It is going to be on a paper, on a piece of paper. So you write it here, so you can copy that to the piece of paper.